Thank you, Presiding Officer, and let me join others in thanking Lewis MacDonald for the opportunity to discuss this important topic. For my constituency, with the world's largest offshore oil support base, with the St Fergus gas terminal, these are very significant issues indeed. And indeed, unemployment, historically very low, has significantly risen in the light of the downturn in the industry, still leaving us in a much better place than much of Scotland. But nonetheless, we should not discount the fact that the people who've lost their jobs are people who are often the higher earners, so there's a disproportionate effect on the economy as a whole. I've no difficulty in subscribing to all the words that Lewis MacDonald has incorporated in his motion today. Now, of course, the price of oil, the price of gas, are not simply determined by economic factors. They're determined by macro-political factors in the world stage. We know that the price of oil was driven down because of choices that were made in other countries to up production. I think some sanity has returned to the market, and that has made a small contribution. Now, we've seen the industry grow from the very small beginnings when a national concern did play an important part in the original. Some of us will remember Britoil, and we'll remember who sold it off as well, of course, to BP many decades ago. So there is, of course, a role for the state in supporting the broader energy sector, of which oil and gas is the major part in the North East. We're feeling a bit put out, shall we say, to put it no more strongly than that, in my constituency, that we've lost many of the opportunities of diversification, because we've built up a huge body of people with skills that can be applied in other sectors of the energy industry, in particular looking at offshore energy, which will over time become more and more important, and of course the carbon capture and storage at Peterhead, and indeed in the north of England as well, that was in the competition. And it's important that the state does take a role in making sure that we can continue to exploit the skills, the knowledge and the people who have been working in our industry. But in the short term, it's very much welcome that the University of Aberdeen has identified that there are formations, for example, around Rockall, that have not previously been exploited. One of the sayings in the oil industry is, how do you strike oil? Drill lots of dry wells. And around Rockall, there simply hasn't been enough activity because the previous understanding of the geology didn't sustain that. So that's a change which may assist the industry more broadly. But even within the sectors that are mature, the increasing efficiencies and the exploitation of existing infrastructure creates significant opportunities as the price of oil creeps back upwards for us to have a profitable, long-term, sustainable industry. There is a 40 or 50-year future for our North Sea oil industry, and youngsters should be encouraged to acquire the engineering skills to go into that industry. I would say that we also have to consider the broader issue of energy security. There is an intrinsic value in having energy that we in the UK, in Scotland, can control, which detaches us to some extent from the vagaries of international decisions, international energy markets. So there is a place for a variety of ways forward, heavily relying on the private sector, but also a role for the Scottish and UK governments, which I hope they will discharge with diligence and appropriate decision-making. Presiding Officer.